What's up, everybody, and welcome to this installment of JJG in the Face. This episode is brought to you by the Wizard Hat Smoke Shop, my lovely sponsors who make it easy for me to travel. On this episode of JJG in the Face, we have the one and only, the extraordinary, the man they call the Trickster. But before that, it's Rhys, the face of entertainment, sideshow, all things that are fantastic. My guest today is Rhys the Trickster. How you doing, brother?
Very good.
It's
Very
good
indeed.
It's good to have you back. So, full disclosure, everybody, we did an episode with Rhys last year. I accidentally deleted it because I was doing a show and I was like, I don't need this, I don't need this. And I guess the thumbnail wasn't right and I accidentally deleted the episode. But Rhys, being the gentleman that he is, came back for round 2, part 1. So what have we missed this past year, man? How you been doing?
Pretty good. Lots of travelling. Lots of travelling all around the place. Lots of street performing.
So we had, before this episode, we had your lovely partner on this, Shannon Jones, which these two are a dynamic duo if there's ever been one. It's pretty excited to have them on the show. They're really good friends of mine. We're going to cover some of the stuff that we talked about last year because I deleted it. But, so you got into street performing and sideshow and circus at a young age, right? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I started performing when I was 9, when I started learning magic. Got a book on magic and learned some magic tricks and then juggling. And started doing gigs and travelling when I was like 13. And so
I may have forgotten that. So you got a book on magic and then just decided I'm going to do this in public?
Pretty much, yeah.
Were you nervous at first as a kid?
Yeah, a little bit.
Because I've seen you have two modes. I've seen that. The Rhys, my friend, who's a little bit reserved.
Yeah.
You're really humble. You come across as a very humble fella. But I see you when you get on that stage, and it's a weird combination of the two. Because, I mean, when he spooks, again, we described spooking on the Shannon Jones episode. But what would you describe spooking as?
Pretty much, using your voice to get people's attention and getting them to buy tickets or see the show.
So yeah,
and enticing them and giving them information.
You're the appetizer before the show, I guess.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, you're gonna love this restaurant. Come in here and check it out.
Yeah.
And there's different series of words that you put together. Like I remember hearing you with "Come with me between these trees," and then you'll see some comedy.
Yeah.
The JJG from the ATX, etc., etc., etc. When you're doing that, you seem large. You seem like this lion, this gorilla, who's just like, hey, you're like this gentle gorilla who welcomes you into the jungle.
Yeah.
So what makes you turn that switch on and off? How do you even go about that? It's kind of like a fighter is nice outside the ring, and then they say fight, and you're like...
Yeah.
What's your process to go through that?
It's kind of like as soon as the microphone's on, or as soon as you go onto the stage or something that snaps, and it's like, all right, this is what I'm doing now. It's kind of like a switch in headspace.
Do you feel that you need to perform?
Yeah.
That's part of your makeup?
Yeah, I think so.
Because I don't ask everyone that question. A lot of people love what they do, but with someone like you, I kind of feel, and I don't want to try to alter the trajectory of anything you're doing, but I see you, I'm like, this guy has to be doing this. Like,
yeah.
I know that you're capable of doing so many things. I'm completely aware that if you took this route or this route, you'd be great. But you strike me as someone who, this is your path. I mean, at least for now.
Yeah.
So what is it about entertainment that makes you keep coming back? Because it's a rough road sometimes.
Yeah.
What is it that makes you happy?
I think it's a good way to express things and get things out sometimes. Like, just let off some steam in some ways. Like when I do lots of juggling and lots of rude jokes and getting people a bit uncomfortable, it sort of makes me feel good sometimes.
Okay, so
as a performer in the normal world, I feel uncomfortable a lot of the time. Then for it to be switched is sometimes a fun feeling.
One of my favorite things. So I saw him do a children's show, and it was great because Rhys will do children's show during the day. At the same time I do comedy at. Then at night he ends up spooking and inviting people to go watch me and the other comics. So it's nonstop. I mean, the dude's a straight machine. He wakes up, he's like, here's all this cool stuff I can do. And then when he's done doing that, he's like, here's this cool stuff they can do. And that's a very generous thing about you. Because, I mean, you're really giving me rock star status, and you're the one who says, buy this car. You know, you're like a car salesman. You're like, hey, check it out. I know you've seen other cars, but JJG is going to take you for a ride.
That's it.
I think that's a very selfless thing. But one of the things, so I went to go see him perform. Hilarious. So you were juggling, and then you did something, and you asked a child a question. If I'm not saying it right, they gave you an unsatisfactory answer at one point when you told everyone to spit.
Yeah, okay, I remember.
Well, it was great because he's doing a children's show, and then at one point there's a room full of kids, and I don't remember exactly the details, but he's like, hey, do you like this thing? And the kid was like, no. And then he literally pointed at the kid and told everyone in the room, spit. Like, that is the greatest thing. Did you hear me lose my mind when you did that? Oh, I lost my mind. Because, I mean, kind of sometimes I'm like, with kids. And you told an entire room to spit at a child. You didn't say spit at this child. You just commanded spit. Now, the room took it great, and they all laughed at it too. But I was just like, I want to do that to friends of mine. Like, I just want to do that at bars. Like, you're hanging out with all your friends, and someone's like, da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, spit. Like, and that's such a visual thing to do, and such an insulting thing to do. Like, who insults a child to that level? That's almost like taking off your glove one by one and going, pah, but with spit. So you went away to the circus when you were young.
Yeah, 16.
16. What took you out of Australia? Because you went to New Zealand, right?
Yeah.
Why not just do it here? What took you out to New Zealand?
I'd known a lot of people who had done the specific circus that I went with before, and heard great things about it ever since I was like 13 or something. So it was kind of like in my head for a while, and just got the opportunity to meet with the person that ran it, and he saw me perform and stuff. So it kind of happened naturally that the circus just happened to be in New Zealand, rather than going to New Zealand to find the circus kind of thing. It was just sort of happened.
How did you get away with, I don't know how rules work in Australia, how did you get away with being so young and then just leaving the country?
Yeah, so that was, leaving school was the hardest thing, because you have to be 18 to leave properly, but because I technically had full-time work, because I was working 6 days a week, you can leave school early when you're 16 if you have a full-time job, so technically I did, so they could let me leave.
So they treated you like an adult since you were working like one?
Somewhat.
Okay. And what happened when you got there to New Zealand? How did you feel? I mean, that's so fucking young, dude.
Yeah.
That's so young to, like, leave the country. I mean, go to another part of the thing by yourself, the country by yourself. You left the country. How did you feel going in there?
It was pretty weird at first. Like, when I first got there, I arrived at my circus boss's family house out in the middle of the bush, and I just went into my, like, little bus that I was sleeping in for the night, just, like, all alone, and, like, what the fuck have I done? Like, just sort of the magnitude of the decision to, like, leave school and do this instead of following a normal path. It's like, oh shit, right?
And you were just by yourself.
Yeah. And
that's so crazy.
And then the other circus crew arrived, and we all started working and stuff. But
did they?
That first moment was like, oof.
Did they treat you well?
Yeah.
I mean,
really
they had that little brother thing going on, or
yeah, it was like a small circus and really good crew. It was like family.
Do you still talk to him?
Yeah.
So I'm just curious, because I mean, you being the young buck, I mean, clearly, and again, I can't emphasize enough, and I'm not being biased because he's my friend. If I'd never met the guy, I'd be like, I'm so glad you did some spooking for us this year. I'm like, we're gonna lose Rhys. We're gonna lose Rhys to fame and fortune. They were just like, phew. Everyone's spitting on us from the outside while you're sitting over there throwing dollar bills, y'all. So you're like, no, that's not what happened at all.
Nope.
So did they treated you well? They weren't threatened? Because I mean, clearly, the reason I bring that up, that you're doing so well, you're clearly great at what you do, and I know you weren't always this good, but I imagine you were probably pretty good early on if they were able to take you on. No one considered you to be a threat?
No.
Nice.
Most people are pretty lovely. So yeah, pretty welcoming industry.
Okay. See, I didn't know that about your crew. Like, I just know, like, back in America, a lot of times they'll see a young buck. Not all the time, but they'll try to squash him.
Yeah.
They'll be like, this guy's not going to take my work. Fuck this kid. And I don't believe in that, but I've seen it happen.
Yeah.
I've seen on people where I'm like, don't listen to that guy. That guy's a piece of shit. You don't know what he's talking about. come here with us?
20 years or so ago, it used to be like that, especially with street performing. That any, new young people would get like bullied and harassed and, beat down before they could get a start.
I guess like if you can survive it, you can stay.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's it.
what was your transition from street performing or from circus to street performing? Because that's a different art.
Yeah. So.
Or is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. But I've always done little bits of lots of different types of performing. So busk with magic at markets, and then do a bigger juggling show at festivals, and I've always sort of been performing outdoors and gathering crowds. But then after I left New Zealand when I was 17, I moved to Melbourne and started just doing Raw Street, where there's no festival or market, or anyone paying you or backing you, so you're just there. And I'd done little bits of it before here and there, but never like my sole income kind of thing. So I hit the ground running Melbourne winter, which was ridiculous and cold, and kept doing a show because I performed at busking festivals and stuff before that, but yeah, just going straight into the street.
So when you're doing that, you're going straight into the street. Did you have because I know you had your circus family who took you and gave you the life lessons you needed to know to be a circus performer?
Yeah.
Did you have the equivalent of that on the street?
Yeah, absolutely.
How did that work?
Meeting various people, either on various pitches or at festivals and stuff, and chatting with them, and usually they'd see my show or something, see something that they liked or something they didn't like, and often they'd give me feedback and work on it a little bit.
And can you take feedback? Because I know in the comedy community, no comic wants to ever hear feedback unless you're in their tightest group of friends.
Yeah.
Like, you know what you can add on to this? I mean, you can add go fuck yourself. Like, and I'll listen to it like if it's someone I respect. But if it's someone from the outside, so how do you all take that? Do you all take it with... I mean, it sounds like there's a minimal amount of ego involved when it comes to you.
I hope not.
Okay.
There's not much ego.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, a minimal
yeah,
amount.
Yeah, but in the street performing, there's a fair bit. As with any performing.
Okay. And how do you like doing the street versus doing a tent or doing a show?
They both have massive ups and downs. So, I do both for different reasons, and like going between different forms of performing. But street performing is amazing because you have the freedom of working whenever you want, wherever you want, for how long you want, kind of thing, and you're completely your own boss, and it's amazing. But then there's the downside of having to rely on the weather, or there's the decline of cash and all that sort of stuff. So it's getting tougher. And then performing on stage or emceeing or something is great because you get to work, 1 or 2 hours a day, tops kind of thing. And you have a backstage and dressing room, blah blah blah.
So when you go to a foreign country to go do the street performing, and this is I really don't know the answer to this. Like right now we're in Australia. Let's say you wanted to go to Ireland.
Yeah.
Have you been to Ireland?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Do you need to join a committee or sign forms or get approval from like the city manager to work a street corner?
It varies from each city, so it's a lot harsher regulations in Australia for the most part, and so from city to city you need a busking permit for the city specifically, and that allocates where you can work and what times and whether you can use dangerous equipment or amplification, and there's lots of regulations and stuff, and sometimes you have to pay for it, sometimes it's free. And then lots of places in the UK don't have any permit system, and it's just sort of street performer run kind of thing. So it's all managed by street performers.
How do you find that street performer? If you were to show up in the UK and then you're like, boom, what's up everybody? We're having a show, step right up, blah 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 blah. Is it unheard of for someone to be like, yo, you didn't get our approval?
Sometimes new people will just come into the pitch where we perform on the street and just sort of set up without knowing if there was other people waiting or without knowing the rules kind of thing. But you find out the rules very quickly as soon as you start talking to any of the buskers around the place.
Okay.
It's that sort of community where everyone knows everyone in the street or the town or even the country. it's all pre-connected, so you can find out stuff pretty quickly.
So we talked to your partner recently, and I was asking because last year she was saying she did some corporate gigs. Now not so much.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a natural evolution, and you don't have to do what you don't want to do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the beauty of being the artist. If you want to work the street, you can work 4 hours, 5 hours, 2 hours, 1. Do you do any corporate gigs, or do you do any gigs that are more hired for like a birthday party or a 50th anniversary or a...
I used to do lots of those, like, weddings and corporate function-y kind of things, and work, Christmas parties and all that sort of stuff. These days, not so much. I want to do festivals, street, and then recently, fair bit of emceeing with Fat Cat Club.
I've heard good things about your emceeing, by the way.
Yeah, so that's been fun, doing more of that. But not so much corporate gigs or anything like that these days.
Now, are you just opposed to doing it in general, or are you just like, you don't have to right now?
I don't have to, and when I do them, I don't like the work that much. Just the downs outweigh the ups for me.
So do you also prepare your body as much as, say, a contortionist would? I mean, you got to put in a certain amount of work into things. I saw him climb a beam, and people were helping hold it up. But you used your upper body strength to just straight up pull yourself up there.
Yeah. And
balance probably 10 feet in the air. How many meters is it?
3 meters.
Yeah, so that's close to 10 feet, yeah. So, and I saw you pull yourself up there when I was walking by. I was just walking to go get some biscuits or like, or some sort of like muffin. And I saw, I was like, and I stuck around and watched, but I saw him literally pull his body up. And that takes strength. I mean, that takes fitness. That takes actual agility. I mean, again, you're
I think I've just got a bit of a residual fitness when I actually did work on my body. At the moment, I do nothing. I walk, and that's it. I carry lots of street performing gear around, and I do my show. That's all the exercise I do. But I do a lot of, not a lot, but some acrobatics and tumbling and that sort of stuff. And so in the circus, I was always, putting in tent pegs and lifting poles and all that sort of stuff. So I used to be physical, and I just hung on to a little bit.
So you also watch what you eat, though, right?
I look at what I'm eating.
Okay.
For sure. And Shannon sure helps.
Okay. Shannon's the one who was on the previous episode. All right.
No.
So what's next on the horizon for you, man?
Well, at the moment with this whole the C word thing.
Cunt.
Yes, that's the one.
Oh, Corona. We're in Australia. I figured it was the same bet.
But
biscuits and cookies for a month.
No, the next little while will be travelling around Australia, not heading over to the UK at this point. But we're going back to my family's sort of hometown, my hometown called Bega, the cheese town, and helping with the bushfire regeneration stuff, and helping out on friends' properties, and waiting until I can start doing shows again.
So will you still do street in the meantime?
I doubt it. Yeah.
Why is that?
The streets are super dead at the moment. I got a photo from the Melbourne pitch on a prime time spot, right time on Sunday, and it was just 3 people tops kind of thing, like the ghost town. And just the fear that people have at the moment, and the no gatherings and the lockdowns and stuff like that. It's just not a great vibe for the street performing.
I've seen that you've gotten better at social media since we last met.
Oh, really?
You're doing a little bit better at posting and posting cool, posting some pictures. I'm like, man, you do all these cool things. I would like to see some postings, because I feel like you're like my secret. I don't want you to be a secret when you're in the entertainment business. I want people to know you and see you. So I get to go back to the States, back in Texas, and be like, oh my God, so Rhys this and Rhys that, Shannon this and Shannon that, Lizard Man did this and Magnus did that. But then if they look a year ago, if they looked you up, they'd be like, well, he hasn't made a post in 2 months. Yes, he's not doing that much.
Yeah.
You've been a lot better about it. So, I mean, where do people find you on social media if they just want to follow you as a fan?
Rhys the Trickster on Instagram. RHYS, of course.
He said H also. So it's RHS. Wait, what?
RHYS.
There we go. And then the Trickster after that.
Yes,
That's on
also
Instagram.
that. Yeah, and then Rhys the Trickster on Facebook.
Yeah, you guys again, I've said this time and time again. Look, I don't have people on this show that I think suck dick for a living at minimum wage. Like, I think these guys are great. And here's the thing, it's not an opinion. I've seen the crowds they draw. So follow them on Facebook, on Instagram, and show my boys some love. And dude, I'm gonna miss you, but we'll stay in touch.
Absolutely.
And yeah, you're an amazing dude. So cheers.
Cheers.
On behalf of Rhys the Trickster, this is Jacob James Garcia. Until next time, y'all rock the day, rule the night.